All right. Welcome back to another board drill breakdown. As always, I'm your host, Kyle. With me is my co host, Matt. We got a little guest tonight, Coach Emory Wilhite, who's a kind of a veteran now. He's come on a couple times. He writes for the Board Drill Substack. So, Coach, welcome to a Board Drill Breakdown. I think you're our first guest on a Board Drill Breakdown. So, welcome on to talk about it tonight. Everybody knows the rules, Matt. Matt's the only person who doesn't know the playlist. So, here we go.
Kept in the dark and fed shit the whole time.
It's absolutely how we do it. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share the playlist. This playlist is from an article that Coach wrote. So, Coach, I'm going to let you kind of tease into it. It's a little bit about Texas and kind of one of their, basically their motion and kind of one of their past concepts. I'm going to let you explain it because I'm a defensive guy. So I'm going to shut up and let you talk for a second.
Sure. So what struck out to me about this play is that they ran it 3 times in this game, and I didn't really see it run in any of their other matchups. And so they have a tight trip set here, and then they take the number 2 receiver and put him on that out motion that I think was made popular probably by Miami. Other people might have done it. The Dolphins with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Does a good job of getting, somebody on the move quickly into a route, distorting the defense and just giving him a chance to, get a running start. But the play here, and what it really does, I think, is gets this option route open because the play has an option and a comeback here on the left side between that number 1 and 2 as a part of the trips, the new number 1 and number 2. And on the backside, they're running a dig shallow combination, right? Trying to high-low one of those underneath defenders with the running back leaking out to the backside as well. So this is the only clip out of the 3 where the running back actually gets out. And so what I liked about this play was I really thought it put defenders in conflict. And they obviously went to it 3 times, and they found 3 different receivers. They hit the option route here on the slant, they hit the comeback on the second one, and then they hit the dig on the third. So it's always interesting to me when a team finds a concept that they like, and then it's robust enough to survive a game. So I thought the key to the play is the flat defender at the beginning. So the quarterback is keying that flat defender, and that out motion influences him, right? So when they do that,
this guy right here that you're talking about.
Yep, that guy right there. And so the option route, it looks like he just has the option to either sit it like on a little hitch or go into the slant. So I imagine his rules are slant if the window is open, or otherwise just hitch it. And so they the defense here gets into a cover 3 look. They bring the mic, but then they drop out the end. So just 3 deep, 4 under. And so the safety that's dropping into the strong hook, he never actually really gets there because he's dropping, from the roof a little bit. So that slant window is open, even though there technically is like a hook defender there. Or at least that's how I'm looking at it. So even though there's that hook, they're just playing, football, seeing the space, finding the grass, and then the quarterback and him are on the same page. That flat defender widens out a little bit, just enough for them to be able to hit it. And then that also, in turn, takes away the comeback route, right? So that flat defender getting width takes away the comeback. So we got like true conflict there where he can't cover both. And even if that hook defender, that safety coming from, the roof would have dropped into the hook, probably would have had the hitch, right? Just on the inside there. And then to the backside, they still have numbers because the running back does get out. And so they've got 2 underneath defenders, and then the offense has 3, receivers attacking that area between the dig, the shallow, and then the check swing. So this play, as we'll see it on the other clips, I really think it did a good job of putting this cover 3 look that they kept, Vanderbilt kept running in a pretty good bind.
Yeah, and I think this is right. This is prototypical Sark, right? Just something that's just like it's a normal concept, but it's a little wacky right before they snap the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of went after you and I broke down, watched a lot of Texas, after you kind of went through it. And you're right. This is unlike anything I really saw them run throughout the year. This is the only time I really saw this concept, but I do like it, like you said, of putting people in conflict. And we're going to see the different ways that they put people in conflict. We'll go over to the other one now, but and in here, like they travel one and then they do it. So I think that they show it different ways. And I'm always curious, and I know you can't answer this, but how do you set this up and how do you call this, right? How is Sark thinking throughout the week of, okay, we're going to do this once, then we're going to travel the guy and do it again and then go back through it. So here's one where he kind of runs that hitch like you're talking about.
Yeah. So that out motion, with that, the flat defender already kind of tucked inside at the line, maybe shown a little bit. He's already so far inside that the out motion doesn't push him outside the option. But what does that do? It opens up the comeback.
Yeah.
And so they might be just like running this as more of a pure progression, but still you can kind of see how the flat defender is the key to the play. And so if he stays inside, I'm going to be able to just take that comeback window way out there to, it's a big throw, pretty good, pretty excellent throw by Manning. A lot of good anticipation too on that
Yeah.
as well to get through that read quick. And then on the backside, really because it's a 3 deep coverage here, you still are able to have numbers because the running back doesn't get out. But you're still able to have numbers because, running back's in, but there's one less underneath defender.
Correct.
So all based off that middle hook defender. If he goes to the play side, right, then we still are able to get that isolation to the backside off that weak flat defender. But if he'd push for whatever reason to that weak side, well, now we're still able to, have that isolated, look that we're kind of seeing now on the flat defender. Even if that flat defender had pushed under the comeback, well, we would have had to hitch, or we could have had the slant. If the hook had pushed, that middle hook player, had pushed all the way weak or whatever, just giving us that slant window somehow. So even though the back's eating up, still good conflict all over the place, all over, all those underneath defenders.
No, I agree with that. See it real quick from the end zone shot here. Matt, you look quiet over there. I know you're always pontificating about these things and looking through it. I can see your face.
Yeah, I need to see another one.
Okay. Well, we got 3. That's it. So there you go.
Hopefully we got at least 3.
Now, this one, I'll give you the caveat. They blow coverage on this and they don't take the gimme.
Yeah.
I mean, watch the corner at the top. This is, and I get it. He's probably going through progression, but watch the corner. I'll just sit here.
Mm-hmm. The whole coverage here was a little bit interesting. So, because this safety to the on the hash, I'm not sure what the coverage really is. It feels like it could have been a covered 3, and he just didn't get to the middle. But I'm not sure. Kyle, if because they're doing a lot here. They're showing 6, dropping the ends.
I think they're trying to roll an inverted 2, and the corner doesn't run to the deep half at the top. Because the exit angle of the safety right here going to the bottom tells me cover 2, right? That's a cover 2 exit angle.
Right. Yeah, so
and then the other guy flying out to the flat. Yeah, I think the corner's supposed to be in the, but it is what it is.
Yeah, maybe he thought he was in the flat, cover 2 or something in their calls. So yeah, Manning clearly misses that, but obviously Texas, everybody, every Longhorn fan would have wished he'd threw that thing. But that flat defender's outside the hitch, so he's probably not thinking I have the comeback, and he just doesn't realize that there's really 2 people in the flat, right? The corner's also in the flat, so he misses that comeback. So, it's obviously a miss that you don't like, but the dig shallow isolates that single defender over there in the flat, and they're able to hit that dig. So pretty nice look to me of kind of going, the first clip, we see the hitch, kind of the number 1 or the slant, that option route number 1, then we see the comeback, and then we get all the way back here to the backside, which really isn't something that I feel like a lot of, this is like a drop back concept and you're going 1 to 2 to 3 within a game. I feel like that's pretty rare to see. There's a lot of spots, a lot of like maybe little quick RPO throws. There's not a lot of like true drop back where you're seeing a team in one game be able to hit 3 different options. So that's what really stuck out to me about all 3 of these clips in this game.
Yeah, and I think to go back to your point of like, yeah, you'd love to hit the go here, but this is probably what if you're a coach watching, you understand this, but regular people, if you happen to be watching this, you're taught, like you said, you're teaching progression. So he's taught to look out there and automatically he says, okay, there's a flat player. This is probably cover 3. Now he immediately goes to work backside right now. So, I mean, it's and that guy, coach, you teach it, but a lot of times like that guy may not even be in the read because every week you're going, all right, you run him off. He's running him off. He's not even in the read. So the quarterback maybe pulls the trigger on it, but most likely doesn't because he's taught to read, like you said, the option route back across the field. So, everyone, it's really easy, right? It's easy to be the armchair quarterback and be like, oh yeah, I would have thrown the go. But it's like, man, if it's not in your progression, it's hard to find it sometimes. And that's where I kind of crack up at people are like, well, there's going to be some quote draft guru analyst on TikTok next year coming right to this going, well, see, Arch Manning can't even see the field. Look at this play against Vanderbilt that he should have thrown it. And you're just kind of giggling. You're like, all right, coach, thanks. So,
yeah.
All right, Matt.
Wow, can you go back to the first clip where he hits the slant? Because I want to see the difference here. Okay. So, this one kind of reminded me, we used to run a lot of follow out of a squeeze formation where you're going to drag a guy and then show an outbreaking route and bring it back across to follow it. So initially that was what was going through my head. You get a mix between a follow concept over here to the trips, and then you end up with a high-low into the boundary later with that shallow, the drag coming across. If we can go back pre-snap one more time.
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
lost in my own thoughts there. But you saw in the other two clips where the receiver just kind of hitched it up. You can go ahead and play, Coach. Where the receiver just kind of hitched it up. But on this one, yeah, he's looking for that open space.
I think he's just reading that flat defender. If that flat defender's outside leverage, he's breaking in. If he's not, he's sitting down.
So that's what I originally thought. But then you go to that last clip. The flat defender flew out there. And
that's true.
Third clip, he flies out there and he just kind of sits in that little zone between the two. Watch how that defensive end drops. So he just sits there between the two zone defenders. So
it's is always just slant until you can't. So if there's anybody there, right, then you don't slant. But originally what it might have been like that F post concept where they got the comebacks on the backside, kind of like the Rams used to run, right? Where you kind of have that influence shallow, and then you're just trying to throw a slant behind it, and then a comeback on the backside to the play side. So maybe it's kind of like maybe that was the inspiration or something like that. But then when they just hitch it up, maybe because let's just stay open.
Yeah, I think what they're doing, to me, just watching this for the first time through, it looks like they're reading that three receiver side. They're looking to get a little horizontal stretch on the defense there, kind of like almost like what you do with stick, right? The stick, you have that outbreaking route and the hitch route, the stick route. This is kind of similar to me that they're just finding that space between those backers, knowing they're getting zone coverage. And then you get the high-low to the other side. So, boom, we read it's not there. I'm going to look to the other side and look at the shallow going across to the dig deeper. So,
and the dig window takes a second,
there.
so it's a nice thing to work back to because the dig window is always a later window. But Matt, you mentioned stick. Now, what if I told you when they run RPO, they run a lot of stick?
I'm sure they do.
They love to. I mean, I looked through it today. They ran a lot of RPO sticks. Maybe we should do a cut up of that as well. But awesome. Well, Coach Emory, if you have not, if you're out there listening, if you have not read his article yet, go to boarddrill.com. It just released on Friday. If you're watching this now and enjoying it, again, we try to do as many of these board drill breakdowns as possible. So if you're interested in seeing something else or you're interested in a college football team, let us know. We'll try to do a board drill breakdown on that. We don't do as much pro film. So if you got a pro one, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we won't. But we got plenty of college film to check out. So Coach Wilhite, thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys. Matt, thanks as always for just being here and just being next to me, and appreciate it. For everybody else, we'll see you next time on another board drill breakdown.